Hello and welcome back to our cottage garden. It's time for our November tour. I feel like that's come around so quickly, I kind of can't believe it. We have had the rainiest few weeks. We've had a really rainy year, to be honest, but I haven't been able to get out here much at all recently, and everything that we have done has been running out in between storms and bits of rain and hail. It really hasn't been very lovely, and it's also meant that a lot of the autumn colours that we had on the trees have come off really quickly and just fallen to the ground. So we have a couple of trees left that are left to change colour, including this acer above me. This one normally goes as late as December, so we have a little while yet, but hopefully we will have some nice autumn displays from this tree, because so far everything else has been over quite quickly. Basically, all I've managed to do in the last week has been run out here for an hour or two and mow as much of the lawn as I can in between the rain, and then put the lawnmower away, and that's the full extent of it. But we do have things to show you, and we have done a couple of big projects since we last showed you around as well. So I'm looking forward to showing you those. And now that we're in November, I think it's quite likely we're in the last month that the ducks are allowed to free range before we have the dreaded flock down. So if you don't know, in the UK, if you keep ducks or chickens, they can only free range certain months of the year, and usually over the winter they have to be kept in a pen with a roof to stop the spread of bird flu. So they hate that, and we hate that too. So we're going to give them as much time outside as we possibly can for the minute, until I get the text saying that they've got to be inside. But they're very happy foraging, and they love the wet weather because all of the slugs and snails come up to the top of the grass and they can forage for them, which is great for us as well. So I know a lot of you will watch these videos to build up a sense of calm and relaxation, and that's definitely the reason that I garden too. So today's sponsor is Aura, and it's basically a Spotify for well-being and relaxation. For those of you that have followed me for a while will know that I am autistic, and I am very prone to getting overwhelmed and overstimulated, and I need to have things in my life that will help me calm down, and that is where I have been using Aura. When you download it, you take a personalization survey so it can figure out who you are, what you're struggling with, and what they can help you with. There are loads of tracks on there and lots of different genres you can try. So there's things like meditation, there's things like nature sounds, life coaching, hypnosis, storytelling, all sorts of things. When I get stressed and overwhelmed, I can start panicking and thinking about things that are in the future or far removed from my body, and by bringing my attention back to things like breathing, it helps me ground myself and relax and deal with stress. And the amazing thing is 97% of users said they felt an improvement within just 3 days of using the app. You can try Aura using the link in the description. The first 500 people to click will get a free trial and 25% discount if you subscribe. Thank you so much to Aura for sponsoring this video and for helping me to calm down while the last few months have felt super hectic. For those of you that were here during our October garden tour, you can see below me the grass is healing quite well. I really dug this up last month to try and get some bulbs in here to do a mini meadow, and I just wanted to show you that it does get better. It looked quite messy last time, so this will look really lovely in spring. I've done 2,000 bulbs so far, and I've ordered my last 1,000, so I think we're going to have a total of around 3,000 in the ground this year, which is amazing. The last box to arrive is going to be my tulips, and I think I'm going to be a little bit late getting those in the ground this year. I've still got some daffodils to go up in the orchard as well, so I'll need to do those, but so far so good, and I love bulb planting season. But the biggest change, as you can see behind me, is we finally got rid of our horrible trellises, and it was something that I've been on the fence, pardon the pun, about doing for a while. And last month when our friend helped us cut some branches off this oak tree behind me, and it opened up this space so much, and I started to feel like the trellises became more of an eyesore than they were when they were hidden by the tree. So we have replaced them with these hazel hurdles, and they are amazing. I'm obsessed with them. They're really lovely. They were quite hard to install because we already had the fence posts in from the trellises, and we decided to go on the existing posts. So they're a little bit wonky, as everything is in our garden, but we're happy with that. That's kind of the cottage garden vibe. Things are relaxed. and homemade looking, and that's fine. Now, I have been told by people that have these that they don't last very long and they can be a bit of a waste of money because they're so expensive. So that's one of the reasons why I wasn't sure about getting them. They should last about 5 years and perhaps longer if I spray them with linseed oil. Apparently, another tip for getting them to last is to grow climbing plants on them. So I haven't removed any of the climbing plants. I think we've got about 5 winter clematis in the ground here, and we've got a climbing rose here as well. That one's Francis Leicester, which I've already pruned really heavily so that we could get the panels up. So next year these will look a bit green, they'll have things growing on them, and in theory that will protect the branches slightly, but I love winter clematis and I can't wait to see that flower again. I had to cut it back quite hard to get the panels on, which is frustrating because it means we won't see any flowers this year, I don't expect, but next year something to look forward to. I've still got 2 hazel hurdles to go in on the other side. I need to clear a bit of space so that I can get them in, but once we've got those up, this area will feel much more secluded and enclosed, and just the privacy is really nice. The idea with the trellises was that we were going to cover them in climbers, but it was just taking so long and I ran out of patience. So I'm really pleased that we've done this. So this area does look quite different now, and I explained to you in my previous video that with the branches from the oak tree that we cut down, we're going to start growing mushrooms, and I've started doing this. I just did one to see how I get on with it, and the idea was if I enjoyed it I'd order some more. So I've done about 30 spore plugs in this branch here, and I found it so relaxing. I've actually ordered 300 more, and I'm going to try and do every single branch. So I should have another 10 of these. I don't think we're going to eat that many mushrooms, but it will be fun to share them with friends and family. I am growing lion's mane mushroom on these branches, and I decided to get lion's mane because people have said it's quite good for you. It's expensive and hard to get hold of because lots of people like to eat it now, so I thought I'll give it a go at growing it myself. And I will make a more detailed video about how I'm doing the rest of the logs, but I just wanted to show you that I've got started and that I really enjoyed the process. So you can see on this log there's kind of lots of dots, and these are where I've put spore plugs in. The plugs are like a small dowel that is filled with mycelium, and that will spread and eventually turn into the mushrooms. And once you've drilled those into the log, you cover them with beeswax, so that's what these patches are. So you can see there's about 30 in this log, and they say it's about 30 per metre, and the logs should be about 12 centimetres, 15 centimetres in diameter. So I hope this will work. Keep your fingers crossed and I will keep you updated. While I'm doing this, I also ordered a kind of faster way of growing them that I'm doing in the house. So inside I'm growing white oyster mushrooms on a sawdust block that has been pre-made. So those are almost ready. It takes about a week to harvest those, whereas this way will take about a year, maybe even longer. So it is a long-term gratification kind of process, but once this has started, this log should give us mushrooms for between 3 and 5 years if everything goes well. So check back next year, but I just thought I'd show you. It's really cool and I cannot wait to grow these. It's a completely new thing for me. It's a little bit crowded in the greenhouse because we've moved our table and chairs in here for the autumn and winter, but I wanted to show you quickly that we've had a few saffron crocuses that have flowered, and I think I put about 100 in here. They haven't all flowered, only a few of them have, so I've harvested a little bit of saffron, and I've got one that I can show you at the moment, and you can see the saffron on there as well. So far I'm not sure whether, because it's the first year of growing them, whether they are just going to be staggered in how they flower, or whether one day they will, maybe next year, do a massive carpet of flowers all at the same time like the spring crocuses do. So if you grow these, please let me know, because I'm really interested in what they're going to be like as they start to get established. The saffron is this kind of long stringy red part that you see in the middle of the crocuses, and most people harvest it using tweezers, but I've just been picking them out gently with my hands. I think I must have had about 10 flowers so far, so about 10%, but I did plant them a little bit later than was advised, so we'll see, but I think next year it will be much more impressive. And I definitely want to grow more of them in here. I think it's really handy growing them in a greenhouse because with this horrible weather that we've been having, they would have just turned to mush if I'd grown them out in the raised beds or in the garden. So keeping them here and keeping them dry has been really, really helpful, and they're stunning. I really love them. I'm so glad I've planted them. I also want to show you the things that I'm growing to get in the ground for autumn and winter, and I need to move these soon. So everything here I've grown from seed, and I'm doing a mix of vegetables and flowers. So I've got some chard, some cavolo nero, some dill and some year-round cauliflower that I need to get in the polytunnel. I'm pleasantly surprised that these haven't been eaten by slugs, because I have not really been very attentive to this greenhouse. I kind of sowed everything, put it down, and then I've been so busy I haven't had time to comb through and pick out slugs and things like that. So that's somewhat of a miracle. I was expecting all of this to have been eaten, but they're looking really good. I need to get them in the ground. I did do some Japanese greens as well, but they've gone quite big. Oh, there's a slug right there. Let's get rid of that. The ducks will find that. Yeah, they're getting a bit big, so I don't know if we'll get a good shape on those. I might try another lot directly into the ground. And then in terms of flowers, I've done loads of aguilesias. These do really well because we've got quite a lot of dappled shade in the garden, and they have a nice deep taproot as well, so they can go quite low into the soil to get their nutrients. These are Macona giant hybrids. I can't quite read my own writing, so if you know what that is, do share. I think I wanted to plant kind of soft pink colours for these aguilesias. We have quite a lot of them that spread really well with seed anyway, so it will be good to just get more of them out in the garden, especially in the shadier parts where I have some bare soil. And then I am also growing a few fig-leaved hollyhocks from seed as well. Perhaps we'll get some flowers next year, we'll see. It's always a bit of a slow process when you start things from seed, but that's been quite successful, and again, no problem with the slugs on those, so that's really good. And also I've got a tray of parsley that looks like it's very newly germinated, so it's tiny, but parsley is one of my favourite things to grow. I will definitely put some of that near the house so that I can just grab it while I'm cooking in the kitchen. So my next task is to get all of these in the ground in the polytunnel now that I've cleared everything, but I thought I would just give you a little look around at the stuff that's going to go in there. I will probably try and get hold of a bit more garlic as well to get that in the ground. So I thought I would stop here and show you this asparagus quickly, because it's gone a really lovely colour for autumn, and this means it's almost time for me to cut them down and burn them as well, because that should stop any overwintering asparagus beetles. But it's a lovely colour. I really love when it does this. And we've got some nice new growth on our kale plants here as well. These looked quite rubbish over the summer because I don't cover them, and they got quite badly eaten by whitefly, but they're lovely now. They've made a good recovery, so I'll probably pick some of these and make some pesto with them. We also have the cup and saucer vine, which is still going strong, and one of the reasons I grew this year was because it was something that will flower into November, and it's done a really nice job of that. There's still lots of new flowers on there. That concludes everything from our garden for the November tour. I'm looking forward to showing you around in December, and hopefully it's not going to be as wet and miserable as it has been for the last month. But thank you so much for watching, and be sure to give us a subscribe if you'd like to see our garden develop over the months and years.